So if you guys have been watching this channel for a while and you sort of understand my trading strategy and my system, you usually see me scale out of a position around that 15 to 20%. Now, there are pros and cons of doing this, but in today's video, I want to really highlight the pro of this when a position moves back against you, right? Because typically when I make these videos and I scale out of positions at that 15 to 20% mark, a lot of questions arise around, Desi, why don't you hold that longer, right? That could have been a bigger winner. You should have held that longer, right? You need to maximize those gains. And yes, you are correct in that sense, but a lot of people don't think about the other side of that question, or the other side of scaling out, the part that protects us from something not going our way, right? Everyone thinks about what happened. They see it in hindsight. They say, hey, I should have held that. I should have been able to maintain that and make more money. But no one wants to talk about and think about, what if that 20% was the most that the stock moved, right? After that 20% gain, what if the stock reversed against you? And what if you didn't scale out anything at that win and ended up taking a full loss, right? So this is something that a lot of people don't want to think about, but it's very important in terms of risk management, and especially over the last 2 days where I have struggled to find continuation in the markets. The last 2 days on the S&P 500, we have seen some very sideways action and really very short-term moves on the intraday that really only provide something of a 15 to 20 to 25% scalp. And if you don't take that win, or you don't scale off risk, you're just going to lose full losses every single time, because the market will just simply reverse and stay in a very tight channel. So in today's video, I have a live example of this, me taking a loss on the SPX, but me also using my risk management tactics to scale out of the position, take some risk off the table, and make the loss a very manageable loss. This isn't fun, it's not sexy, but it's something that's going to keep us alive in our trading. I have taken 2 back-to-back red days. Up on the screen, you guys can see my performance for this month. And yes, while it sucks to lose these last 2 days, in the grand scheme of the month, it's really just a drop in the bucket, and making sure that I'm keeping these losing days, these hard, difficult trading days that are sort of sideways, making sure they are comfortable and making sure they are a number that I can come back from, utilizing my risk management tactics, is brutally, brutally important. The sideways days on the markets are typically the days that people go on tilt and lose their whole accounts. The days that the market barely moves are the days that we lose our money. When the market moves freely in a single direction, that's when the opportunity arises and we can ride runners and trade continuation. But that has just not simply been here the last 2 days, and making sure we instill these risk management tactics is crucial to our long-term success. So in today's video, let's go ahead and break down this SPX trade that I took a loss on. A fantastic setup. A+ setup in my eyes. Maybe you call it an A because we were still in the channel, but in terms of the break and retest, it was there. There was a reason to strike, but the continuation wasn't. And so let's go ahead and break that down. So pulling up the screen, you guys can see right here my TradeZella, right? And this is the trade that we're going to go ahead and break down. And just to show you guys real quick, the month that I'm on, it's a fantastic month. It's the best month I've ever had. You guys have seen it all over X, and you've been seeing, the performance that we've been having. It's been incredible. $368,000 on the month in the first 15, right? On the 15th, so the first 10 trading days. Profit factor's great. Trade win percentage great. The last 2 days, though, right, I've given back about $58,000. I've lost back-to-back days, and I haven't found success getting continuation on the market. And when I look up here on my charts, right, I have my charts up on the top screen, I'm looking at a market that has been within about a 5-point range over the last 2 days. So I'm not that upset about the losses. I just need to keep them small. I need to relax, and I need to wait for better price action. But you guys can see right there, the 2 back-to-back red days that unfortunately have made me take some L's. And so if I go here to the SPX trade, which was a very nice $2,200 loss, it was a comfortable loss, I want to explain to you what happened here. So here on the SPX, you guys can see that I went ahead and I took 10 contracts, so about a $26,000 position size, lost about 8%. And when I took my first profits off, I went ahead and closed for about a 20% profit. Give or take, I think it was around 20%. It's about $5 on 2.6. So yeah, it's right around that 20% mark was the first win that I took, 17 to 18 to 20%. So you guys can see, like I said, we took our first runner off around 18%. Right here was about an 18% win, and we got a nice move in our favor relatively quickly on the retest rejection. But ultimately, I was looking for more continuation. We went ahead, went back up, rejected my stop loss level once again, right? Rejected right there, which was my stop. And I will break this down on TOS. Went back down, held the position, tried to stay patient, looked to see if we had some retest rejection action for more downside. But ultimately, the market squeezed me out, right? And I took my loss right there at around $17 per contract. So my loss on the runners was about a 30 to 35% loss, right? And my win was around a 18% win, right? So I had a 30% loss right here. I'll go ahead and draw this out. 30% loss on the runners right there, and an 18% win on the first trade that had a nice downside move, right? So 18% on the first half, 30% on the second half. Now, of course, I will run you through the charts to make you understand why I took some off, why I scaled out here and took off this loss, right? Why did I take those entries and exits? Well, first of all, let's just go ahead and run through the statistics. So 18% win, 30% loss, and I come out with about an 8% loss, which is very comfortable, about $2,200. Now, if I didn't take that first scale out, right, I'm losing about 30 to 35% on $26,000. And that comes out to more like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 loss, right? So I go from around a $2,200 loss up to around a $7,000 to $8,000 loss if I'm not scaling out, taking some profits off the table, and understanding key levels and understanding that the continuation just isn't quite there. And you guys will see this in the live trade that I have in today's video when I'm walking through this trade with the group, reading the price action and just not seeing that continuation come in and accepting that I need to go ahead and take some risk off the table. So when we look at a chart, right, and we see this thing going straight down, everyone wants to say, why didn't we hold? Why didn't we hold, right? This thing went straight down. It went straight down. You should have held. You should have held. But when we look at a chart that reverses on us, right, and goes back to the upside, we usually say, man, I should have taken off some profits there. But I don't want to play that game, right? I don't want to play that what-if game. I'm going to do the same thing every time, whether it's a good decision in terms of profit or if it's a bad decision, I don't care, right? If I'm up 20%, if I'm up 15 to 20%, I'm taking some off. Every single time, no matter what it looks like, I'm taking off some risk, right, to protect myself from situations just like this. If you've been around a long time, you know this is possible. You understand there are days where continuation isn't quite there, and you're not going to get that full 50, 60, 70% runner that you're looking for, that, like we're all looking for, right? We all want that juice. We want that juice. We want that continuation. We want to let it continue and move in our favor. But it's not always going to happen, and someone with experience understands that. And someone with experience, whether you have it or not, I'm coming from a place of experience, I recommend you build some type of strategy or some type of system in your trading to take profits off the table when you have that 15 to 20% margin. Once you get that, snap some off, protect yourself, reduce your risk. If this goes against me, I'm not that worried anymore, right? Because yes, I might still lose, but I've locked in some profits already. So with those statistics out of the way, sort of the concept and the mindset behind how I trade and the system that I do, let's break down the chart, talk about the entries and exits, and talk about what was the reason for the trade in the first place, right? Why did I even look to take this position? Well, this morning, we had a very nice 539 low on the SPY in the pre-market. We saw that hold into the morning, and we pretty much just got a straight-up move off that level. Now, something that happened intraday around 9:45 is we had a very clear pre-market high that turned into a nice low, right? So you guys can see right here, pre-market high around the 541 level turned into a beautiful break and retest long entry, right? So right here, if I zoom in, we have that pre-market high at 541. We get a break. We have a beautiful little retest and a nice continuation move, creating a nice low right there around $541 per share. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, we saw the SPY sort of channeling above that level, right? So we had pre-market highs right around that 541. We saw price action holding, staying above that pre-market high. So I figured I wasn't too interested in the upside, right? Because there were some key levels above on the ES that we were trading up into. We were trading up into the 5480 level, right? So you can see right here, we had this 5480 high from the previous day. And I wasn't so interested in that long, right? Because I didn't want to long right into the previous day high. So we started to see that rejection come in. I was happy I didn't long it. I was happy I stayed away from that potential fake out, potential trap. And now that I saw the SPY coming back down, I figured if we just created this very clear consolidation above pre-market highs, if we fail back under that pre-market high, turn it into a rejection point, I should likely get some type of continuation looking for downside on the SPY, right? After a clean hold above pre-market high right here, if we fail back below it and turn it into a rejection point, typically you would see the market roll back over. You would see trap buyers, right? You'd have buyers up here that are now trapped because we are no longer above that pre-market high, which would cause some kind of a short-term panic, short-term selling on the market, giving me an opportunity to profit. And it did, right? It did. You saw I was up 18% on this trade. So where did I get in this position, right? So right here, you guys can see on this position, we had a breakdown of that 541. We had the next two candles push back up into 541, and look at the retest rejection that took place, right? So right here, I'll show you, and I can even go to the 1 minute chart to really get this finite for you. And I'll go to the 1 minute chart just for examples. I traded on the 2 minute chart, but I can go to this 1 minute chart to really show you what happened here. So 541, right here. Let me go back. That's not the right day. Here it is, 541 on the SPY. So you guys can see we had a morning high at 541. We created the break and retest long entry, which actually gave you a decent amount of continuation, right? 541 high into a low. That right there, my friends, is a break and retest long entry, right? And now later in the day, what am I looking for? I looked for a fail back under this 541, a break and retest rejection, right? And you see here, right around 1021 and 1022, we got a very strong upside push right back into that 541 level. And this is where I took my trade. You guys can see right here, I took my trade at 1023, which is right on that candle right there. So why did I take that? You can see it, right? So I like this trade. I'm not upset with this loss. And you should not be upset with losses that follow a technical strategy that you're trading. You guys can see that this is exactly what I always look for. I have a previous high. I have a previous very clear low. I have a break below that level. I have a retest of that. I have my entry point right there with my stop loss above 541. My risk is very, very clean. Now, the question is, how much continuation am I going to get? That question right there is uncertainty, right? And you can't be scared of uncertainty. You can't worry about uncertainty. You can set up your trade. You can set up your risk. You have to execute. We can't be certain how much continuation we're going to get. If we never take our shot, we will never be there for the continuation that may come in, right? So we have to still take our shot. It's something that is 100% necessary. So I saw my setup play, right? Breakdown, retest, previous low, into rejections. That is a perfect place to take a risk, right? With a stop over 541 and look for the downside to come in. And it did beautifully. It looked fantastic. And you'll see that in the live trade. This started to look like it was about to be a 30, 40, 50% mover. We had volume coming into the market. And I figured, hey, this could be the spot where we finally get a nice breakdown. Well, that's not what happened. You can see we moved back down, and you can see here, back on TradeZella, at 1026, just 3 minutes later, 1026 right here, I took some profits off the table around 20%. What was I concerned about? I was concerned that these pre-market levels and that opening low would hold this up, right, and possibly push it back higher, which is exactly what happened. Now, if I'm not doing that and understanding, hey, I just took that retest. It's a good entry. I'm up around 20% here, right? Sitting up around 20%. I have some risk of this pre-market holding, that pre-market low, and this opening print low holding. Let me take some profits off just in case we get a bounce here, which is very possible. And that's what happened, right? And so if I didn't take profits off there, I would watch this go right up against me and go back to red. Now, why didn't I take profits off, or why didn't I take my position off as we pushed higher? Well, because it's still just a scale out, and I'm still wanting to stay patient on runners, right? So I didn't fully take it off. Why? Because we're not above my stop loss. We're not above 541. even if this bounces and still remains under 541, the trade could still sort of consolidate and eventually move lower, right? As long as we're below that 541, yeah, sure, this could sort of mess around in this area, but ultimately a lower high could lead to more downside. That is very, very possible. So I wanted to stay in this position until we got above 541. And you can even see right here around this 1035, 1036 time frame, we saw another beautiful rejection of that same exact level. And I started to say, okay, if it doesn't happen here, then it's not going to happen, right? You'll probably hear that in the live trading. It's got to happen here. We have a clean double top high at the previous lows here. And if we don't stay under this 541, I have to cut this position, right? Because at this point, I need this to follow through, break these lows, and create a new low and continue to structure to the downside. Didn't happen. This low held strong, right? And you can see right here around 1043, I had to cut my position and take my loss, which ended up being an 8% loss, which could have been a 35% loss if I did not take my profits on that initial move in my favor. Some people will say there are pros to this. Some people will say there are cons. But some of you also typically show me online that you're very impressed with my ability to keep losses small. This is how it's done. This is what I do. So even if I'm wrong here, which in this case, yes, the trade did not work. Would I say I'm wrong? I don't think I would say that I'm wrong. I think it was a valid trade setup, and I think a lot of you can see that. I just didn't get continuation because the matter of fact is that the market is just staying in a very tight range over the last few days. So I'm not quite getting that juicy continuation. So was I wrong for looking for continuation? Yeah, I guess you could say that, right? But what am I doing to protect myself? I'm scaling out as I get the small wins to make sure that if this does turn against me, I'm not taking 35, 40% losses. We have to understand with options contracts, if something moves against you quickly, there is a lot of risk, right? And we need to be aware of that. We need to protect against that. Later day today, there is a pretty interesting trade that just set up. We've been talking about it with the group. A little bit of better continuation here later day, but still just not really something that's that interesting. You can see the low a day here that created itself around 539, which was that spot that I got, my profits off of. Look at what it's done here later day. So later day, we have a little bit of a break and retest rejection here, which has given us some continuation. But man, would I not be shocked to see this SPY come right back up because we're just simply not getting that flow. So really nice trade today, in my opinion. I thought a really good idea on the break and retest rejection of the 541 level. We got a decent move. But what I really wanted to highlight in today's video was how do I manage these sort of choppy environments that we don't get full follow through? What do I do with my positions after I get my 15, 20%? How do I manage it? How do I make sure if things go against me, I'm still not taking massive losses? And this was a fantastic example today, and I have it all recorded live. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something about my mindset and how I manage these positions in real time. And when you watch the live recording, you guys will see the actions that I take in real time. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Yeah, I gotta try it, guys. Stop over 541 SPY. I'm in some SPY puts. Gotta try that. That's too clean. 541 retest rejection. Gonna try it. Let's see if there's continuation. If not, we just get wicked out. I mean, that's the setup, though. I can't be scared to not take that. That's the exact thing I was looking for today. Exact everything. 1930, 5465, 541 SPY. I mean, it's across the board. We'll see if we get continuation, or we'll see if this thing just wicks back over. But that's a setup, and I'm taking that all day. Okay, looking good for now. We got to see some more juice come in, though. Need more juice. Come on. Would love some real juice today. Don't just wick on me here. Okay, beautiful break under VWAP on ES. Good. So far, so good. So far, beautiful. 8%. Good. Come on. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about just the wiki. I am. I'm a little concerned about just high volatility wiki action. But, I mean, it's there. You gotta try it. Gotta try it. Come on now. Give us a real move. 10%, good. A little bit more. A little bit more. Trust it. Trust it. It might not do it. Gotta trust it though. Good. Come on. One more candle. I really think we can get 535 on this. Go, bitch. That's seven. All right, that's 17%. I gotta lock some up here. Boom. Nice. I actually just sold in. Okay, awesome. What a fill. It filled after that drop. Nice. Okay, took half off there. There we go, man. All right. We're getting the juices flowing. Come on. Juices are back. Nice. Good setup, man. Trusted it. It's hard to trust it sometimes when you took a bad trade the day prior. But that's a setup. Good trust. Let's see if we can get more. Still wiki. But a good half off there. Good half off. Still a little bit wiki. I like the half off there, though. I like it a lot. Tesla looks good. Tesla looks good. Come on. Please just go down, man. I hate this shit. I hate when it does this. I hate when the market does this, man. I hate it. It really pisses me off. I'm not gonna sell it because of it, but I hate watching it. It's so this is why trading's hard right here, because it's so hard to trust when you see these candles. I fucking hate it. Just give me the juice. We have to stay in this as long as we're under 541, by the way. You really have no reason to sell this if it's under 541. So, I'm going to try to hold on to it. Because it could just continue to make lower highs the rest of the day. As long as you're under 541, this is downside bearish. Yeah, still good. Can it do it though? It's over, guys. I have a very low confidence that we're gonna get a real move here. It just seems price action seems sort of jumpy, pinned, trappy. Good 541 rejection keeps me in the trade, but confidence is pretty low here still. Perfect rejection for downside. Look at how beautiful. Probably just gonna hold this low again if we don't get volume here, guys. Yeah, all right, guys. Gonna still hold here, but this zone looks pretty dead. Looks like that hold down here is coming in pretty good. Nice read. Nice break and retest. Nice patience. I'm thinking we're going to get stopped out of the rest, though. All right, guys. I'm out. Took a good trade. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Sucks. Loved that. Loved a lot about it.